In this video, I want to show you how to paint Imperial Fists using the miniatures we get in the Kill Team starter box. I'm going to be showing you how we can approach painting our Imperial Fists in a way that is accessible to anyone, no matter your skill level. You'll not only learn all about the basics of painting miniatures, I'll also be showing you how to create definition and get everything highlighted. And so you can follow along, this is an easy to follow step-by-step guide showing you all the steps and techniques you'll need, so by the end of this tutorial you'll have the confidence and knowledge to paint your Imperial Fists however you want. As well, if you stick around until the end, I'll show you some cool techniques to add interest which will make our Imperial Fists really stand out. Welcome to TableTopReady, my name's Michael and I want to show you in this tutorial how we can make painting Imperial Fists as easy as possible. All of the paints and brushes I use throughout this tutorial will be shown on the screen as I use them, and they'll also be listed in the description along with any hobby equipment I think you find useful with affiliate links to where you can buy them. And before we get started, I want to say a massive thank you to all the amazing people who've made this tutorial possible with their continued support. It really means a lot. As well, if you enjoy my content here on TableTopReady, then let me know by clicking that like button or leaving me a comment. I love reading them and hearing about your own hobby. Imperial Fists are notorious for being difficult to paint, but I want to show you in this video how we can paint some Imperial Fists no matter your skill level, so you can have some miniatures you can be really proud of, and by the end you can continue to build, paint and expand your collection even more. When it comes to building your miniatures, we can decide whether we want to fully assemble them or leave parts separate to make painting them a lot easier. For this tutorial I've chosen to build our Imperial Fists as sub-assemblies to make showing you how to paint them a lot easier. When it comes to undercoating your miniatures, I undercoated them using Wraithbone, which is going to make painting that yellow armour so much easier. Something else we might find useful is having something we can hold on to whilst painting. Here I'm using some plastic shot glasses. This is because having a painting handle or attaching the miniature to something to hold on to makes painting more comfortable and prevents us from touching our miniatures too much. If you need even more help getting your miniatures ready for painting, I do have a dedicated video on the channel showing you how. Also, throughout this tutorial, because I'll be showing you all the techniques and steps that you'll need to get your miniatures painted, I've made it a lot easier to follow along with by splitting the tutorial up into different chapters. Now that we have our Imperial Fist built and undercoated, we're now ready to get started. In this first part of the tutorial, I want to show you the basics and talk about some of the techniques and ideas behind painting miniatures to give you a great foundation so you can continue to do more advanced things later on. After you've undercoated your miniatures, the next thing to do is to paint our base colour using Wraithbone. And I know we already undercoated our miniatures with the Wraithbone undercoat, but the sprays don't always match the colour from the pot with the same name. So doing this means we get the colour we actually want. And so we achieve best results when painting. We always want to make sure to thin our paints, and I find an equal amount of water does the trick. As well, I like to remove excess paint from the brush on some paper towel first, which helps give us more control over how much paint is deposited. And when we're ready to start painting, we want to keep our brush moving and avoid going over any areas we've already painted to prevent creating any unwanted texture whilst the paint is still drying. Then once you're done, because we thinned our paint, it won't have covered so well. So we will need to paint another layer using the same process. Painting in multiple layers like this means we can get a strong base colour without losing any details. We just need to make sure each layer has fully dried first before applying another one. It's really important that we get a head around the very basics of applying paint to our miniatures, because it's this that's really going to help us achieve a better finish once we're done. Now we've got our base colour done, we can get started on painting that infamous yellow armour, and for this we're going to be using a contrast paint. Contrast paints are different to our other acrylic paints as they're more like inks that are formulated to give us our base colour and at the same time create our definition. So for our yellow armour, let's use Imperial Fist yellow, and to achieve best results we want to apply contrast as evenly as possible. And just like when we're painting our base colour, we want to avoid going over areas we've already applied the contrast, and we want to use enough to cover areas comfortably. We don't need to thin our contrast paints, but I do recommend working from a dry palette, so we can control how much we have on our brush. Take your time making sure we finish each area or detail before moving on to the next, as the contrast dries pretty quickly. You don't need to worry too much about being neat with this first step, as we can neaten things up later. I really enjoy using contrast paints because we can get some really nice vibrant colours, which is going to be great for our yellow armour, and trying to achieve the same vibrancy with the general acrylic paints can be more difficult to do. Once the contrast is fully dried, we want to work on making the details of the armour stand out more. For this, we're going to create a wash thinning down Cassandora yellow with an equal amount of lime medium. This is going to dilute the strength of our Cassandora yellow so we don't overpower or affect the yellow we've already painted, but still have to bring out all those details. And using lime medium means the shade will still behave and flow in the way it's supposed to, which water could affect. When applying this wash, we want to use enough to cover our miniatures comfortably, so it can flow into all those recesses and shallow details, but we do want to avoid it pooling up too much in areas where we don't want it to. If we do see this happening, then we can use our brush to remove any excess we don't want, and we'll need to keep an eye on it as it fully dries. Doing a wash is a great way to bring out all of our details, making them easy to see, and it's also going to help give us a much richer, more golden yellow more suited for Imperial Fists. Once the wash is completely dried, you'll see how it's done a great job of bringing out all of our details, so let's now work on getting all of our other colours painted. This is a great time to get all of our other base colours painted, so we can spend time deciding what colours all of our other details are going to be. This is also going to make painting our miniatures less overwhelming, as we've created a great starting point to work from. So the next colour we're going to be using is Black Legion. Again, this is a contrast paint, and we want to apply this to our ribbed areas between the armour, weapon casings and the captain's loincloth. And even though we want to try and be as neat as possible, it's okay to make mistakes, and if you're like me, you're going to be messy. But we can always go back and neaten up any mistakes and messy areas. After you're done with those black details, let's work on painting any belts, pouches and straps using Citadel brown. Honestly, working on getting all of our base colours painted first, before we start working on creating any definition and then highlighting, is a great place to start, especially for any new painters and beginners. Next, we're using Ziegfeld Burgundy for any chest decorations. Now we want to get our shoulder pad trims done, and for this we're going to use Bile Red. Again, try and be as neat as you can. If you do need to tidy up that yellow, we just need some Wraith Bone and then reapply our Imperial Fist yellow. And if you need help deciding what colours we want to paint our details, we can always head over to the Warhammer website, which has loads of images and turnarounds we can use for reference. For our captain's aguilet across his chest, we can use Bile Red again. After you're done with those chest decorations, we can work on any purity seals, again using our Ziegfeld Burgundy for the wax seals, and for the parchment, let's first repaint our base colour using Wraith Bone, and then we can apply some Skeleton Horde. Let's work on painting any cloaks and capes next, starting with the inside of them, first making sure we clean up any mistakes with our Wraith Bone base colour. We can then use our Skeleton Horde contrast on these areas, and for the larger flatter areas like this, we do need to be careful with our contrast to make sure we apply this as evenly as possible. Once the inside has fully dried, let's get the outside of these done, first using Bile Red for our captain's cape, and then Skeleton Horde contrast for our camo cloak. And we actually want to reapply these contrasts a second time to give us a much deeper, more solid colour for both the cape and the cloak once your first layers are fully dried. There's a lot of time and effort going into painting our miniatures, so don't expect to be able to sit down and get them finished in just one sitting. And we're going to get the most out of our hobby when we're just taking our time and enjoying the process, and when you're done, you'll have some miniatures you can be really proud of. If you have any smoke, let's use some Griff Charger Grey, and if you're quick enough you can feather out the contrast to give us a nice gradient. And for any marines that forgot to bring their helmet, we can paint their flesh using Guilliman Flesh, and Citadel Brown for their hair. The last details to work on are going to be all the metallic areas, and for these we're first using Lead Belcher for all our silver details, and once those are done we can paint our gold details using Retributor armour. Now we've finished deciding what colour we want everything to be, let's learn some more about creating definition and see how we can get everything highlighted. When we talk about creating definition, we're just talking about making all of our details easier to see and defining the shape of things. We've actually already did a pretty good job of doing this using our wash and our contrast paints, but it's still important to talk about and while we do things. So if we go back and look at our Imperial Fists before we applied a wash, you can see how flat everything is, making it difficult to see. That's why it's important to create our definition. Let's finish doing this applying some shades to our metallic details to help define those details even more. For our silver details, let's use Norn oil, and our shades are applied in the same way we did for our wash. Let's also use our Norn oil over the Captain's Aguilette to darken that red. For all of our gold details, let's use Reikland Flesh Shade. Using shades are a great way to create our definition, but we have to remember that they can be very messy and they can also affect and all the colours we use them over. And when all of our shades are fully dried, we can work on getting our Imperial Fists highlighted. The idea behind highlighting is to bring out any edges, areas and raised details to draw our attention to them and to make these features stand out even more. The most prominent way of highlighting and the one we most associate with it is the line highlight, and it's this highlight that we're going to be focusing on. For this technique, it's a great idea to have a brush you vibe with that you like to use, and I would keep it separate so it's always up for the task when needed. Again, we want to thin our paint and remove any excess on some paper towel first, which is going to prevent those thick blobby lines. We're going to be working on highlighting our yellow armour first, and for this we want to use Dawn Yellow. Just take your time painting thin lines on any edges and around details to bring our attention to them. To make this easier, we can angle our brush against an edge and run it along the edge to create the highlight. For the areas we can't do this, then we just need to take our time painting thin lines where we want our highlights to be. If you want to know more about highlighting, then I've got a dedicated video on the channel which goes into a lot more detail about what I find helps me and what I did to improve. For me, highlighting has to be one of the most important techniques to really practice and get good at, because not only will it help to improve the look of our miniatures, but it's also going to help improve our brush control and hand-eye coordination, making us better miniature painters overall. When you're done highlighting the armour, you'll see how it's helped to bring out those edges and details, making more of an impact. Let's continue highlighting everything using Dawnstone to highlight all of our black details and materials. When we come to highlight all of our belts, pouches and any straps, we use an XV88. Fire Dragon Bright is used for our shoulder pad trims and other red details, and for their cape our highlights are painted along those raised folds of the material. Next we want to highlight any chest decorations using Pink Horror. Any parchment we can use Screaming Skull to highlight these details. With everything highlighted, there's only a few things left to get finished, but these are the more fun things to do on our Imperial Fists. In this last section of the tutorial, I want to show you some of the more fun things that we can do to really add some interest and make our miniatures stand out more. I first want to show you how we can paint the camo on the cloak of our Eliminator. Let's start by painting some angular blocky shapes using Scrag Brown. And it's important we build up to a solid colour for these. Then all we need to do is choose a second colour. Here I'm going back to our Wraithbone base colour and painting some more of those blocky shapes. And it's a good idea to have these overlap in places. When you're happy with your shapes, highlight the camo cloak using Screaming Skull. The next thing I want to show you is how to paint any energy effects and glows. The first thing we need to do is paint any plasma coils with Wraithbone, and we can then use Athematic Blue to give us our glow. For our lenses, let's use our Wraithbone to paint a thin line in the centre, and then our Athematic Blue can again be used to finish any lenses. Somewhere else we can create a glow is on any node you see on your miniatures, and all we have to do is apply our Athematic Blue along those nodes. Let's have some more fun working on our yellow armour, making it more interesting using our Dawn Yellow to paint little scuffs and scratches. And if you want a more battered weathered look, we can use Cygor Brown to paint some darker scratches along some of the edges of the armour as well. Make sure not to overdo this, as we can easily overpower what we've already done. Just take your time and build this up slowly. I know what I'm showing you throughout this tutorial might seem a lot, and you'd be right, but I really want to show you what's possible, and you can do as much or as little as you feel comfortable doing. Just have fun. Let's finish up getting our bases painted, starting with some Skaven Blight Dinge for the textured ground. We then want to use Dawnstone for the raised rocky slabs. When you're ready, we can use Norn Oil over these details to create definition. And once that's dried, we can give everything a dry brush using Screaming Skull. After that, get all of the other details on the bases like the bullets painted. To finish our bases, let's paint the rims using Storm Vermin Fur. My goal for this tutorial was to show you how to paint some Imperial Fists, which a lot of people find difficult to do because of that yellow armour. And it was especially important to make it achievable for anyone, no matter the skill level, so they can finally have the Imperial Fists they've always wanted. So let's see how they turned out. But before we see the reveal, I do want to take a moment to thank Bartosz Molkowicz, Lieutenant Dangle, Bimani Williams, Antonio Halford and Daniel. Thank you so much. And if you enjoy the content here on TableTopReady and want to help support the channel as well, you can become a channel member or join my Patreon, which not only helps me create this content, it also gives you access to our Discord, along with access to lots of other perks for as little as £2 a month. And for every tier you'll also get tutorials early and be kept up to date with what I'm up to behind the scenes. Our Imperial Fists are now finished, and I hope I've been able to give you the confidence and knowledge to get your own painted, and they can now be used in your games of Warhammer 40,000 and Kill Team. Make sure to go and check out all the other tutorials and content here on TableTopReady to see how you can paint some of the other chapters, or even how you can paint your Imperial Fists like you see them on the box. I really do enjoy making these tutorials and I hope you find them useful, and if you do then please leave a like and let me know in the comments below. As well, make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future content, and I'll see you in the next video.